An innocent woman has been stabbed by a stranger on Little Bourke Street in a random attack that shocked Australia.
So this was a brazen, shocking act.
7:40 in the morning, the heart of Melbourne. The city is just waking up. The smell of coffee is in the air. Thousands of people are making their way to work. Trams rattle down the street, baristas are pulling the first shots of the day, and the city is humming with the energy of a fresh start. It's a scene that plays out every single day. Normal, safe, predictable. For 36-year-old chef Wan Lai, it was just another Tuesday. She was walking to her job in the city BD, probably thinking about the day ahead, the prep list, the lunch rush. She had no idea she was being stalked. She had no idea that in a few seconds a stranger would creep up from behind, plunge a long-bladed knife into her chest, and leave her for dead on the cold pavement of Little Bourke Street. This wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a dispute. It was a random, unprovoked, and sickeningly violent attack in broad daylight. An act that didn't just puncture Wan Lai's lung, it punctured the entire city's sense of security. And the most infuriating part of this whole story, the person who allegedly did this should never have been on our streets in the first place. Today, we're not just talking about one horrific crime. We're talking about a system that is fundamentally broken. A system that protects the criminals and abandons the victims. A system that has turned Melbourne, once the world's most livable city, into a city of fear. They don't want us talking about this. The politicians, the bureaucrats, they want you to believe this is just an isolated incident, an anomaly, a one-off. But we know better. We see the truth every single day in the statistics they try to bury and the stories they hope you'll forget. We are the resistance, and our only mission is to expose the corruption and decay that the mainstream media is too scared to touch. This channel is funded by you, by real Aussies who've had a gutful. If you want to help us keep fighting, if you want the uncensored, unfiltered truth, then join our Patreon. It's the only way we can keep these lights on. The link is in the description. Let's get into it.
Breaking news, and the woman accused of a vile and random stabbing attack on a female in the city which shocked the state has made a brief appearance in the Melbourne Magistrates Court.
The woman charged with this horrendous attack is 32-year-old Lauren Darrell. And when you look at her history, you won't feel sympathy. You'll feel white-hot rage because this wasn't her first run-in with the law. Not by a long shot. At the moment she allegedly stabbed Wan Lai, Lauren Darrell was already out on bail for another offence. Let that sink in. She was free to roam the streets, free to hunt for victims, thanks to a justice system that has lost its bloody mind. Court documents reveal Darrell had a rap sheet with dozens of prior offences stretching back to 2022. Attempted armed robbery, possession of an imitation firearm, countless breaches of bail. Just 1 month before she allegedly stabbed a chef, she was charged with stealing a bottle of wine. She'd failed to appear in court, had a warrant issued for her arrest, and what happened? She was bailed. Again. It's a revolving door of justice, and it's spitting violent criminals back onto our streets faster than the courts can process the paperwork. The court even heard she had a pending application to be dealt with by a special therapeutic court, a soft-touch option designed to address the underlying factors of her offending. What about the underlying factors of a knife in an innocent woman's chest? When does the victim's trauma become the most important factor? This isn't a mistake, it's a pattern, a deliberate choice by our legal system to prioritise the so-called rights of violent thugs over your right to walk to work without getting a knife in the chest. Darrell was even a resident of a state-funded supportive housing facility on the very same street as the attack, a facility with 24/7 security. The system knew she was a risk. It had every warning sign imaginable. A flashing red light of escalating violent behaviour. And it did nothing. They put her in the heart of the city, surrounded by innocent people, and crossed their fingers. And for one lay, that roll of the dice came up snake eyes.
The Victorian government have failed when it comes to knife crime, and their only answer is a machete bin that isn't working.
The politicians will tell you Melbourne is safe. The Lord Mayor, Nicholas Rees, says that by any international comparison, Melbourne is a very safe city. Fair dinkum. Tell that to one lie. Tell that to her family, who say she's now so terrified she can't step out of the house alone. Tell that to the thousands of Victorians who are now looking over their shoulder every time they walk down the street, wondering if the person behind them is just another commuter or the next Lauren Darul. The truth is, this isn't an isolated incident. It's a symptom of a much larger disease. Victoria is in the grip of a crime crisis. In the year to June 2025, Victoria recorded 483,583 criminal incidents. That's an 18.3% increase on the previous year. It is the highest number of criminal incidents since records began. This isn't a spike. It's a bloody vertical climb. The crime rate per person is up 16.3%. The population has grown, sure, but crime is growing faster. And it's not just petty crime. We're talking a 40% spike in theft from cars, a 26% jump in retail theft, with businesses losing their minds over the constant shoplifting, and a feeling of lawlessness that is palpable. The state's own Deputy Police Commissioner, Bob Hill, said, "As a society, we simply cannot allow the level of crime we are seeing to become normalised and accepted." But that's exactly what's happening. It is being normalised. It is being accepted because the consequences for the criminals are a joke. Even the Queensland Premier, David Crisafulli, couldn't resist a dig, saying if businesses move from Melbourne to Brisbane, they won't get stabbed. He later apologised for his poor choice of words, but you know what? He's not wrong. Victoria's reputation is in the toilet. It's now seen as the crime capital of Australia, and the numbers don't lie. So who's to blame? Well, if you listen to the politicians, it's everyone but them. Premier Jacinta Allen called the attack absolutely sickening and said the attacker should not be on our streets. You're dead right, Premier. So why was she? Your government is the one in charge of the laws. Your government is the one that has overseen this record-breaking explosion in crime. Her police minister, Anthony Carbines, admits the crime rate is, quote, unacceptable. Unacceptable? Mate, it's a catastrophe. And admitting it is one thing, but what are you actually doing about it? The government will point to the fact they tightened bail laws in March. But it's too little and too late. It's like trying to put out a bushfire with a water pistol. The police themselves admit that a tiny number of repeat offenders are causing most of the chaos. Just 5,400 people are responsible for 40% of all crime in the state. These are people like Lauren Darul, who are known to police, who have lengthy criminal histories and who are let out on bail time and time again to terrorise the community. The police arrest them and the courts let them go. The number of people in police cells on remand has quadrupled, from 60 to 260, because the system is clogged with these repeat offenders. The opposition is calling for break bail, face jail laws. A simple, common sense idea that if you're lucky enough to get bail and you break the conditions, you go straight to jail. No more chances. But in Victoria, that's apparently a radical idea. Instead, we have a system where a woman with dozens of priors, including attempted armed robbery, gets bailed for stealing a $20 bottle of wine, and a month later, an innocent chef is fighting for her life.
It's just turning into feels like a little bit of a ghetto.
This is the reality of life in Melbourne in 2025, a city where the government is at war with itself, where the justice system has failed, and where ordinary law-abiding citizens are paying the price. One Lie is lucky to be alive, but she will carry the physical and emotional scars of this attack forever. She was just walking to work, a simple, everyday act, and for that, her life has been turned upside down. Her brother-in-law says she's scared of every stranger who walks past her. She's had to move out of her own home because she's too afraid. This is the human cost of a broken system. It's not a statistic, it's a life shattered. How many more one lies will there be before something finally changes? How many more families have to be torn apart? How many more times do we have to see headlines about someone being attacked by an offender who was out on bail? The government can talk about their unacceptable crime rates and their sickening attacks all they want, but words are cheap. Actions are what matter, and right now their actions are telling us that the safety of innocent Victorians is not their number one priority. They've broken our bail system, they've lost control of our streets, and they're trying to tell you that everything is fine. We're not buying it, and we know you're not either. If you've had enough of the lies, if you want to help us hold these clowns to account, then join us on Patreon. It's the only way we can keep this fight going. We are the resistance, and we are just getting started. To see the latest Australian crisis, click this video here.